And a second, any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Item 9, items for consideration. Item F is a resolution authoring the city to enter into a payment in lieu of taxes pilot foreign trade zone site agreement with the Aransas Terminal Company LLC, approving terms, conditions, and setting an effective date, and authorizing the mayor to execute a letter of non-objection and to sign all documents associated with said agreement.
I'm getting a little prompt from David to speak. So
Yes, sir.
my name is Bert Morehouse. I'm with the Aransas Terminal Company. We operate the property on Harbor Island. It's owned by the Edgar Shell Foundation. I think most everybody heard this, so I wasn't doing a whole presentation, but I realized we have a refreshed council, so I'm here to answer questions. But there were a couple of questions last time, and one of the main ones had to do with the tenure. How was there any time limit to this? So Mr. Parsons and I and your attorneys have worked on this, and so now there is a sort of a 5-year, every 5 years it comes under review. Is I think the best way to put it. And there were some other changes that were made, and they're all acceptable to Aransas Terminal Company, and according to my consultants would be acceptable to the Foreign Trade Zone Board. So that's
real quick, and you have them in front of you. And there's only 4, so we go. They're all highlighted in yellow. The first one was under obligations B, that however any other taxes associated with non-FTZ and inventory shall be paid. Just to clarify, there was a little bit of confusion in that first sentence that pilot are for FTZ and inventory that does not receive the FTZ exemption, the pilot payment shall not be owed to the city unless they are due by, state and city law. So put that in there. On the next page, there was a little bit of in that entire agreement, there was a clause in there that kind of scared us that only the restrictions within this document applied, and we wanted to make sure that we weren't voiding that didn't mean voiding our own zoning uses. So we added that line at the bottom there, except that all city of Port Aransas zoning code uses shall not be waived and remain in effect. Same page, number 7. The original text said the parties covenant and agree that they will execute such other and further documents. The attorneys were like, well, we shouldn't just agree that we're going to agree to future documents. So we added that after approval by the city minute and or city council. And then the last one was the extension termination clause. And it took us a while to work that one out, but I think that the verbiage works. So basically the city council will have the authority by majority vote of council, of course, to terminate at the 5th year anniversary date. And it voted to terminate. I had originally put in a 90-day. I think Mr. Morehouse was requesting a little bit longer because of the time that freight arrives and sits, that it could be difficult to meet that. That written notice shall be given to the operator. And if city council does not seek to terminate at that anniversary date, then it automatically gets extended. So you guys would have the opportunity every 5 years to someone could say, hey, I want to bring it up and put it on the agenda. Council would have the opportunity to terminate the contract, the agreement, and give Mr. Morehouse a written warning. Or if you don't and you think it's great and everything's going fine, there's no need to bring it back to council for an agreement. It would be automatically extended. So those were the edits between city staff and the attorneys and Mr. Morehouse.
But only one 5-year extension.
No. I don't think it says one. At each 5 years. So in other words, if you end up liking it, it could just keep going. But you do have the opportunity in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years to bring it in and discuss it.
As opposed to.
Yes.
It won't, we don't have to renew it.
Yeah, you don't have, it'll auto renew unless you guys say otherwise.
And stuck with the first 5 years during
The first 5 years, you're
termination period. Prior says it just falls apart a year and a half later, or are we stuck with 5 years once it started?
you are stuck with 5. I mean, that's just the number that we kind of, 3 was a little quick for him to get going on 3, so, but it's whatever your pleasure is.
So if this is not with anybody else, you can transfer this to somebody else. That's for you, but if something happens,
That's right. It goes with the operator.
okay, so if something happens, it's over, right? And somebody else will have to come.
Right.
5 years.
It's say 56, there's a group sitting here and bring it up, it's into that automatic first year, then they can go ahead.
Well, they'd wait to the anniversary date.
And you've had a conversation with Ms. McKinney.
Right. And they had the same question.
They're next. I mean,
Oh, okay.
he's got it's,
I know.
who do you have to go
that
to?
last time.
It's school,
Everybody, there's 5.
Right.
hospital district, county.
Are we first?
You're first.
Why?
Somebody's got to be first. There's,
Okay.
everybody's waiting on everybody else. And so, but yeah, this was the one that we identified seemed to be the most, you don't want to do something in perpetuity. So you have a chance to claw it back after a few years, but I mean, we still have to follow all the rules, whether they're in here or not. The rules have to be followed, all the federal and city rules. And I think, it does clarify it. We put in the part about the zoning. We're not allowed to do anything that's not within the zoning.
I like the verbiage that you added, especially with combination. So there's no provision of default that if the parties don't, if you don't do the things that you've agreed to do in the provisions.
We both can agree to defaults.
Well,
but there's-
but there is language in here that if I don't pay you, I'm out.
Where is that? And I haven't
That's,
had a chance to read the whole line, so
yeah.
where does that say that?
Well, but I remember seeing it.
Hold up, it's
Because typically that's what I'm looking at. Typically, that's what you see as a default position. It basically says if, the parties either fail to. Is that under G?
Under obligations, there's no later than April 15th of each year, and for as long as this agreement is in effect, the receipt operator agrees to furnish the city business manager a notarized affidavit detailing all inventories and the subject to FTC, the related work is charged, and accounting of the amounts due, paid, and payable for the previous calendar year.
But again, if you don't do that, there's.
yeah, it's G, it's the operator agrees that any violations agreement by the operator would justify reversal of the STZ site designation and or activation by the board and or customs. Furthermore, the operator acknowledges that default under its pilot agreement with the city for such subject site shall, upon notice of such default by the city, also be a default under the operator's agreement.
Okay, but what's the provision of default? Meaning, I don't see that language in there. So if you default, then it automatic termination in 30 days. What's the provision?
The thing would be, what you would do is you would go to the FTC board. And
We would have to we'd have to go to the FTC board to make this agreement go away.
But to deactivate what I'm up to, it talks about it here, the reversal of the FTC site designation and the reversal of the activation by the board of customs. I know I'm just reading what you've already read, you're further ahead than I am, but if we default, in other words, if we don't We don't furnish you the audited financials or whatever it was I just read. Show you what all the warpage and all those details and everything, and if we don't do, that's the most of it, is to show you what's gone in there and pay you the money. And if I don't do that, then it goes to, I mean, the way you would, so that would make this, I'm not following the rules, and you don't have to sue me. All you have to do is go to the Foreign Trade Zone board and say, hey, this isn't being done, and this is why. Then I lose the FTC designation.
So that's not clear in there, but that's exactly what would happen. So I would like to see that, maybe our attorney add a provision of default, basically says right after that, you know, if in fact he is in default, we deem that, then what are the actions at that point? You know,
The
is
actual
it-
steps.
Where did the act, well, no, I mean, typically in a default, if someone's not doing what they're supposed to do in a default, then, you know, your contract's null and void, your agreement's null and void, your interest rate goes up to 20% instead of 5%. I mean, there's details on what happens when you go into default and how that is default's remedied. So that's what's not in here, is how, you know, if you don't do those things, what happens next? And I mean, I understand what
Lose the
you're,
designation.
but we're not in charge of designation. All we're in charge of is this agreement. So your designation is between you and the board, right? So I don't know what your agreement is with the board. So if your agreement with the board says if any of the parties, you know, your agreements fall through, then you lose your designation, then we can add that somehow. But I just think we need to be clear.
Well, then I need to be clear too, because I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, because what do you anticipate, or what is it that you want to happen? What is it, what do you foresee? Because, I mean, I'm just trying to get a designation and be allowed by the federal government to set this up.
Sure.
So I need a letter, you know, from you guys, that says you don't object to that. And so if I don't follow what is it? I guess I don't understand what you see as that's deficient here. I'm just not completely sure, because I need to be sure, because I had this written, you know, by attorneys. It's been reviewed by the city attorney. I think somebody thinks that it's okay, except you don't, and maybe nobody here does. Maybe nobody in the town wants the thing. I don't understand. I've made so many presentations, and then we come back to, well, it's still not good enough. What is it? So the way I understand it, Wendy, is that if I'm not following the rules and I haven't done it right, then it's revoked by the. I'm sorry, I just don't understand what it is. It's revoked by the Foreign Trade Zone Board. That's the governing body, not the city. The city really isn't the governing body. I lose the designation of Foreign Trade Zone if I'm not. I mean, I have an agreement with you, and then if I don't meet it, what do you want to happen next?
I don't misunderstand me, Bert. I'm not saying that I'm not in favor of the project at all.
Yeah.
But you're asking us to sign an agreement that we're okay with you doing this over there, right? And it's a
Right.
5-year contract. And right now, I mean, as long as you play by the rules and we think it's going well, then it's an automatic renewal, right?
Mhm.
But if something happens and you don't follow these things that you've agreed to do in the
Right.
agreement,
Right.
there's no way for us to say, to Mark's point, hey, if it's not going well after a year and a half, then do we have an out?
If
That's
it's
not,
not going well, what does that mean?
meaning that if you're not following the rules with, you know,
Okay.
whatever.
Okay.
This is
What kind of out do you want?
a way to cancel the agreement.
And that's what I told you, the Foreign Trade Zone. You go to the Foreign Trade Zone and they will revoke it. Because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. They're the governing body. The Foreign Trade Zone Board. It's a federal deal.
Or is that stated in here?
No.
I just think
No, maybe the steps on it. If that, if you want me to put that step in there, I guess we can. I'll do anything you want. I've done everything you've asked. So I'm just trying to determine if I think it's acceptable, because a lot of people have looked at this. And so, I just don't know exactly, I can't create any, I'm not looking to create any law here. So I'm just trying to understand what you want it to say. We can do this later, we don't have to do it right now, if you can tell me.
I mean, we can approve this today. I mean, if everyone's on board with it, subject to adding, in my opinion, the language of the steps. In the event of default. That's all
Are
I'm
the
asking.
steps, okay, are the steps that you're talking about the ones that I'm,
How we get out of the agreement. If you're not following the agreement, so that it's just not, we just don't have to wait to the 5-year renewal period where we all say no. That's what I'm asking.
right?
That's all. That's all. I mean, and I think that can be done with a simple addition to a sentence. Yeah.
Just start, again, I think it's not- coming back, read this, try to-
I mean, we all discussed this.
You do have that. If I don't pay you, if I don't do what I'm hearing, you have it out, and you just want us to spell out what that is.
I mean, the typical agreements will be very clear about what that out is, like what the steps are to do that. That's all.
We can do it. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not trying to make it complicated.
I
I just got it, and so it's,
I'm just trying to understand exactly what it is. This is not lawyers, and this is not my forte.
sure.
So, anyway, I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure I can meet your expectations. That's fine, and I think I can. I think we're on the same page. Thanks for listening to all my confusion.
So you want to see something in section C that says, if it's April 30th, we hasn't done all these. Our letter that gave thumbs up is.
Well, we have the option to do that sooner than the 5-year period.
Based on, it's right there in C.
Right. I mean, that way, if he goes 6 months and he's not paying us, or he's not following the permitting rules or the things that we deem,
The FTC,
Necessary.
the FTC board would turn you off before any of the taxing authorities would do it.
That's the governing.
The governing
Yes,
body
if the
says-
if the taxing authorities go to the FTC starts a review process. And then it's fitted in.
Yeah.
and we don't know what that is, so that.
I know,
I mean, if it's new to us.
yeah, I know, I understand. Just-
Yeah.
I don't want to go away. Again,
Sure.
not understanding exactly what we want to do, so. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Does anybody have other questions, comments?
So if we agree to this with a provision of addition to.
The default process.
Okay,
Yeah, more additional
Clearly outlined default.
to clearly outline the default process in within, relationship to item I and G. Or C and G, excuse me, C and G.
okay, I'll make a motion with the addition of a provision clearly defining the default process.
Item C.
Item C.
A second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Yes.
No. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, item G, resolution approving a memorandum of understanding, MOU.
We're gonna pull it.
Okay. Item H is a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between the city and the Port Aransas Independent School District for the purpose of establishing and achieving various goals and objectives related to the use of PAISD buses, bus driver, and staff for the purpose of assisting the city of Port Aransas after school care and camp programming for 1 year beginning May 2023, and authorizing the city manager to sign said MOU. Hello, Ken.
Good evening. All right, well, it's that time of year. And we are loaded up and ready for summer camps. We've got 8 weeks of summer camp scheduled. 6 of those camps have sold out with 50 students. And we have a waiting list for every camp. We have 2 camps that have about 6 spots left. And we'll have a waiting list as long as Avenue A by the time this is all said and done. And it's I can't thank council enough and PAISD for the partnership that we have and how we've been able to build this program since 1996. One of the first piece that we gave to you, just to have a little look-see, was the history. We sent everyone in their packet the history of the after-school program going all the way back to 1996. Kiwanis started it, and anyway, just a fun little lineage there of the growth process that we've gone through and how we've taken the program from 20 students that was capacity to now we have between 60 and 70 students that stay every day after school for an hour. And that's in our partnership with the ACE program. So it's very successful. It continues to be successful. And then the other page that we sent to you were just some fun statistics that we came up with because we were curious. And we wanted to know how our prices compared to other places. And you'll see that information there. And then also wanted to see what the assistance is. We provide scholarships for PAISD employees and the city of Port Aransas also. And so we just wanted to see what those numbers were. And then lastly, we wanted to see who our service members were. Who is it that we were reaching? And we see that not only do we serve Port Aransas, but a lot of people that work here and bring their kids, they commute. And this is their home away from home. And many of them spend 60 hours plus a week here. And they come in the morning early and they go home late, and we have their kids until 6 p.m. So this program allows those parents to work, and we do, if you don't mind me saying so, an excellent job of providing that care. And I think most of you
My son was in that
can
program.
can attest to that, and Maverick is there now. So on one thing that I do need to bring your attention to in the resolution in section 1, we do need to add 2 words. It's the city council hereby authorizes and approves memorandum of understanding MOU and attached hereto as exhibit 1 between the city and PAISD for providing the use of the PAISD buses and facilities. Right there, we need to add in as available. In the original MOU that we've already had approved, as yet to be signed, but has been approved by PAISD, that as available was in there. And so we need to be faithful to that verbiage. So if we just need to amend that there, as available for the purpose of assisting with the city of Port Aransas after school care and camp programming.
Who's the young guy there in 2014?
I know, right? I don't know where he went. I ate him at some point, I think.
Remember that guy?
The last piece of our puzzle that I'm bringing to you this evening is we're asking to reevaluate our financial aid slide. We've had one financial aid, and it is you either qualify or you don't. And what we're asking for now is more of a sliding scale to be able to say, if you qualify for the free lunch program, then this is your fee at 75%. If you qualify for this, then it's 50%, 25%. I can't tell you the amount of applications that I process of people asking for financial aid, and they miss it by $10. They miss it by just a few dollars. And, you know, single moms and families, it matters. You know, when you're looking at monthly income for a family of 4, around $3,500, it matters. So we're just asking to reevaluate the sliding scale and be able to implement that into this upcoming school year and use it for our programming. Anybody has any questions?
Is the approval of that in the resolution? Okay, so we'll do that separately.
Oh, okay,
Okay,
okay.
okay,
Okay,
okay.
But there's still time to get it done before August.
Okay. Oh, I see. It was it's,
Yeah, it's in the packet.
yeah,
Right.
Right.
right, okay. All right, well, that's a little preview for you. And there is more, by the way, tomorrow, we've been partnering with the ACE program now for 5 years since Harvey. And tomorrow is the last day of the ACE program. And so we're gearing up to take 100% ownership of the after-school program. As we were prior to Harvey, we were there. And ACE ends tomorrow, and we've got a big party planned, and so that partnership has been amazing to be a part of, and they're leaving the school and leaving us a lot better than they found us, with a lot of merchandise and a lot of tools that we appreciate them being a part of. So anyway, we really thank them for what they've done.
Well, as the parent of two children who went through the program for many, many years, including the summer camps, you guys do an amazing job, and it is an absolute blessing for our community to have you guys.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Go Stars.
All right, yes, tomorrow night, we started all over, buddy. All right.
thank you,
Thank you.
Ken.
Ken.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve
With the edit
with the,
that as,
are we gonna do that now? Oh, as available
yeah, as available.
with the.
I'll second it.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, item I, discuss and take action on appointing board members to the Hotel Motel Occupancy Tax Advisory Committee.
Okay, and I think I've caught everyone up to speed on what this board is, so. But just a quick recap over the last couple of years, different organizations have come to the city for request of use of hot tax funds that meet the state hot tax requirement. We do have in our city ordinances a board that, lo and behold, was already there. We just hadn't read that chapter in about 20-something years. I think they used it back in the late 80s and early 90s, and then it kind of disbanded and hadn't been used for almost 20 years. So we're reseating the board. We need 7 members. I believe 4 in the SDR world, and then I think 3 business. Is that the rule? Does that sound right, Lawrence? 4 in the SDR?
Yeah.
Yeah, lodging industry, right. Our goal is to get this board seated here in the next couple of months. I think we have 6 applicants here, and we'll still need 1 plus an alternate. But we want to kick them off as soon as we can, because their first step is to write their policy, and that's going to be how, what the application process looks like, the timeline of when they need everything, what are the do's and don'ts, how the money's going to be, what's the approval process, how to meet state law. So all that's going to get hammered out first. That's going to take them quite a while. That could take, I'm guessing 4 to 5 months. And then next spring, they will be ready, or even in the fall, if you guys give out any, if you guys award any funds this summer, they can start the review process. It's called the after event action review. So if we do give out money for events this fall, the board this fall can start doing their after event reviews immediately. And then next spring, they'll have everything in place for receiving event applications for funding. So it's going to take us a while to get them up and running, but this is the first step, is getting this board seated. And you have 6 applicants. And after reviewing them, they all do fit one of the 2 required groups.
saw the ad in the Jetty that said the filing deadline is June 2nd
For what?
for these boards, for this. Today's paper.
We did what? Right.
So do we have to wait till then?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Is that the first posting in the paper? It has been.
No, it's been posted for a while.
Yeah.
So it's been there. So
Yeah, we've done several extensions.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
The-
yeah, I think this is our third ad. Yeah, so we've already had 2 deadlines hit,
Okay.
so I think we're safe and I think you're safe in appointing and then getting the last 2.
Should appoint them before they change their mind.
It's hard
Reel 'em in.
hard to get people to sign.
And so if we appoint these people and they're on other boards as part of organizations that receive funds.
They can't be. They cannot
That
be
was
on a
part of-
receiving. They can't be on a, they can't be part of a organization that receives funds. That's, no, it's receives.
Receive any funding derived.
Yeah, that
from-
receives any
Oh,
funding, yeah.
It's a tourist bureau, because that's an automatic, but these are not the tourist bureau.
Yeah, it's not, it's, it excludes city and chamber.
These are business
Okay.
owners.
Correct. And I believe you do have to be a registered voter. And one of these is indicated that they are not a registered voter, Mr. Richards,
And Richard.
Adam. So he is deemed ineligible.
We can have, they can have the other 2 later, or as we get more applicants. we can do Another primary and then a.
So do you vote the slate or do you vote individuals?
I think if you can book the slate since there's 6. I mean, since there's 6 people, and there's 7.
Yeah, the easiest way is to just,
I just want to make sure that's okay with
Oh, yeah.
everybody. It's in the past.
Well, then as they come up for reelection, that could change.
Okay.
It's fine. Okay, then I'm gonna make a motion to approve these applicants.
the 6 minus
The
Mr.
6
Richards.
Minus, yeah, sorry, minus the ineligible Mr. Richards.
Okay,
I second.
right. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll. Yes.
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 Yes. Right, item J, discuss and take action on appointing a board member to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Just one, yep.
Did we need more than one? Did we need one now?
Yeah, they're trying to, they're still recruiting.
Right? Okay, then I'm gonna make a motion to approve.
Right, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. All right, item K, discuss and take action on PPLT and FPLT 23-000-628 final plat for Foxfire 1 subdivision. Block 1, lots 3R through 6R, applicant Millstone Land Inc., property location 522 East Avenue G.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, welcome, council members. This property, as David's got up there, probably easiest described as looking where the shell is, the vacant lot. this plat application is really pretty straightforward. It's just a request to take the existing lot conditions, which are 5 lots, and replat into 4 lots with the just this exhibit shows the lot that would host the old Shell property becoming larger, and the ones becoming smaller down from that. So that's it. The reviewing engineer found it in conformance with our platting requirements, and the utilities involved acknowledged their acceptance to the plat as well.
Comments. So approval is subject. Utility.
Correct, and that goes without saying it's always going to be subject to that, but and in fact, we were talking about it, there will be as part of the gas project, the gas line put right under here, probably in the somewhat near future, going right over there, so if it makes you comfortable and the pleasure is to approve the plat, you can add that in there, but it all those details.
Are they keeping that building or they're building their building? Don't know yet.
Well, we've heard that they are going to keep it and it will become another eating establishment, but
Yeah.
you know how rumors, but that is from the purchaser. So
I gotcha.
we're anticipating that it'll be another eating establishment.
Anybody have any further questions for Rick? Okay. Is there a motion?
I think the motion to approve, okay, with the comments included.
I'll second. All right, there's a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Item L, discuss and take action on FPLT 23-000-630, final plat of Blue Marlin subdivision block 1, block 3. Applicant is Blue Marlin Holdings LLC, Gabriel Goodman, property location 3100 block of Highway 361.
Thank you, Mayor. This plat, I'm sorry, the preliminary plat was approved by both planning and zoning and council back last year, August and September respectively. So this is actually the first phase of the final plat now of that it's called the Marlin subdivision project. It's generally a statement outline, but more specifically identified in that exhibit. So it's actually just a single lot within that project. Again, the utilities, once again, sorry, our reviewing engineer found it was in conformance with our platting requirements, and the utilities as before is review and approve the plat.
One moment of the urban engineering report. The comment in the 2 areas of prior to approval of plat map that we see with the signs.
That's a standard, that's a standard requirement. And actually what they've started to do, and we appreciate them doing this, Chuck, is that they actually go right down our ordinance and write those in. So that's language kind of basically the ordinance. But that happens once the infrastructure is there, then it's actually signed and recorded.
Further discussion or questions for Rick?
Make a motion to approve the final plat of Blue Marlin subdivision.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes,
Okay. Item M, resolution approving professional services task order agreement with Janakas Architects approving amendment number 1 of task order number 3 for a total amount of $210,854.47 for architectural design services for the public safety building. Hello?
Michael, would you mind giving a brief introduction of yourself and what your team does?
Good afternoon, Michael Doris. I'm with the Broadest Del Sol team for the disaster management recovery. At Terry Lopez, David Footman, and Rob White, who are also our local team here on the ground working on your projects from Hurricane Harvey. This is one of them. This was one that we struggled through early on, but as you may remember, we did a settlement with the CBCA, the arbitrators up in DC. We actually yesterday received that final grant for approval, reviewed it and accepted it in the grants portal. So we're in the last steps of the money being released to us in the next 180 days. With the public safety thing, we also, if you remember, we had started off with our initial design as we do with all our architects and engineers and set a baseline estimate until we got the final design and we knew what we were building and what changes and alterations and stuff we made. This sits in front of you tonight. We have, this one's actually advertising as of today on the street. So this is the amendment to Raymond's contract to amend to the projected estimated construction cost for the public safety. It's 2 sections you'll have in front of you.
So in a nutshell, when we originally approve it, we're approving a concept. So his contract is based on the concept with the dollar amounts that we had several years ago. Then as that progresses and we actually dial it into more a physical building with more accurate numbers that FEMA's approved, that contract will keep, I would say, go up or down. Usually it doesn't go down.
Yeah, never.
In this day and age, with everything getting more and more expensive, you're gonna see contract adjustments for any engineering or architect, or these big ones especially. But you're gonna see those, especially the ones that linger on for multiple years. Because when you start out conceptually and you start dialing in, that number is gonna go up. So that's what you're seeing in these next couple change orders is the project actually coming more closely to reality and us adjusting those numbers.
Yeah, for 2 reasons. One, we don't want the bid to come in and it's double the estimate and we pay them double the fee. If there was no level of effort. So we set it right before the bid off of an estimate. Inside of Janak's submittal, there was an estimate performed by our Broadest team who did his estimate. So it's broken down more into categories and trades than it was just a square foot takeoff. I'm gonna tell you, we where the number and the request started to where we are is right where it should be for approval at this point. We made sure it was tight. I think there's some supplemental cost in there as well. We'll see in a second, but we got the estimate tightened up and we got the AE fee curve from FEMA's database that matches this number.
These change orders coming up. I was when I was reading. Furniture design if requested by the, do we normally request furniture design on a project?
We talked about this and I actually left this one in. We typically don't recommend that we use those services on a big purchase. You're probably gonna get furniture. Come spec out.
So
But
that.
it's in,
Prove it, if it doesn't get spent, then we don't request it.
That's correct.
It'll get spent. someplace
they will
else.
have to have written approval to go
Okay,
forward
all right.
with that action. Yes, sir. And that's why I say the bottom section there, I don't have it in front of me, but it's a couple of its testing and stuff that's gonna happen.
Yes.
And that, one of those prices in there started at 13,000. And to Raymond's credit, he was able to shop it and bring it down. So we did take an aggressive effort to keep the number as tight as we could.
Any other questions for Michael regarding this item?
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve this task order amendment. I'll second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Brandon, please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Item N, resolution approving the professional services task order agreement with Janak Architects, approving task order number 2 for a total amount of $181,357.52 for the Harbor Master Facility and Pavilion renovation.
Yeah, this is Terry's project, but I'll speak for it, see. There was some items added to the bid. There was, remember pavers and a number of things added. This is associated costs and the extra efforts that Raymond put forth for that stuff. And we recommend that this.
These are the additives, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's the paver, bulkhead.
It's some civil work.
Yeah.
It's a tie-ins with some ADA. It was justified added scope.
Yep. Oh, that's right, the additional square footage upstairs. Oh, yeah, and roof, yeah, the re-roofing of all the adjacent structures to match the new roof lines. So, yeah, so all of that stuff is not in, yeah.
And that's why that was coming to you right after the bid. This is.
Okay, questions on this item?
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve this task order.
Second. All right. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Brandon, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 And please keep on them, they're doing good over there,
Yeah.
Yeah,
They are doing.
making progress.
Okay, item O, resolution approving professional services task order agreement with Janak Architects, approving amendment number 3 of task order number 4 in a total amount of $354,556.20 for the architectural design services for the fire station facility, authorizing future budget amendments for fiscal year 2022-2023 budget.
The only difference here is we are a little bit earlier in the design than 95% right now. Still confident in the estimate done by Jack that's provided in front of you. If in fact, when we get towards the end of advertisement, if the estimate, for some reason, the market bottoms out, we'll adjust accordingly. But I think it's the right time, based on the level of effort in the push design, to bring this amendment forward, so we recommend it for approval.
Make a motion. Password. Work out, fine.
Second. Okay, there's a motion, second. Any further discussion? Brandon, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item P, resolution amendment number 1 to urban engineering contract for Hurricane Harvey Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Engineering Services, authorizing the city manager to sign said agreement and setting terms, conditions, fees, and effective date.
Yes, this one, we have had reviewed by Royal, who's the prime, there, but we recommend approval of this contract.
Yeah, we're adding additional wetland delineation. For permit for outfall 3, wetland mitigation, general land office leases, and surveying services.
Right, surveying, and then rest of it's Josh's. Yeah.
Question? All right, one second. Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Brandon, please call the roll. Yes.
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 Yes. Item Q, presentation and general discussion from Boss Associates on Hurricane Harvey recovery.
All right, now that we've given all task orders, every month we come up here trying to give the latest, greatest updates on projects, kind of the 30-day status and where things are projected ahead. So at any time, it's our goal to try to communicate the highlights of those projects to the council. If you have any additional questions, that's why the team's here. So I'm going to get started. Public safety being the first one, big day today. It's out. I know we're working on the city website. By tomorrow, we should have that linked up for the plans and specs, but it went into the paper officially today. We're anticipating a June 22nd collection of those bids and a quick turnaround from our architects on the recommendation to really try to push that building forward. So
We might call a special meeting.
right now, what we signed yesterday for final approval brings the total of the public safety and obligations to $7,701,968.38. And so quite a giant leap, as remember, a few little loose end items in this version were also incorporated, the actual demo of 105,000. We had some shed storage stuff. And so those 6 projects were added in the intent. So that 7.7 will be the full pot used towards this building that we have been now.
If there's overages, remember you guys approved that what was the 9.3 million, so it's sitting there, so don't have a heart attack if you have an overage on that, because you guys have already pre-approved that fund that's sitting there for
Fire.
public safety, fire, and public works.
Yeah, and as you'll recognize in the earlier amendment, we will come over. All right, fire station, we talked a little bit about it earlier. We give a little more higher level stuff. We have not settled on a date for the arbitration. That was, I reported last month, we would do it by the 12th, the required date. We were asked again for additional time, to which the city, it's a family emergency. So we did issue that. Tell you, cautious here in the public meeting, but I feel like we're working towards settling this. And so I don't think, the reason I point that out is I don't think they're just sitting in stalemate like we did for the first 5 years. I do believe, based on questions and interactions with our legal team and everything else, that a lot of progress is still working behind the scenes. All right. Charlie's Pasture Pier, not much new to report. Some inspections from Urban going to occur tomorrow. Some of the change order work that was previously approved still on schedule. We've got the handrails on COVID back order still out there, but it's tying up loose end type last minute stuff. On the bulkhead, we actually met with Urban again this morning. That project is progressing. As in any project this complicated, we do have some field conditions that are making challenges for us. You remember we approved the previous change order for Washington. So we're working through that, looking at some mitigation items and making sure that $10 million investment is being built back. So hopefully a little more to report on that, on updates and stuff from Urban's inspections by next meeting. We did receive a request for information, additional information from FEMA on the previous change order that was approved. Nature Preserve and Boardwalk Phase 2. We continue to push the environmental group for a preliminary assessment and approval. We are trying. We did send an email yesterday asking to at least get the information for the BA, the biological information that Josh Melman needed. We got a standard cut. So it's one of those review processes that they have 120 days, 180-day timelines. So we'll keep y'all updated. Jim's ready to finish that up once we get the permitting and all of the stipulations to the permit back. Gas distribution system. You can see we're moving into more populated areas, more and more. Actually, things in the last 30 days and the last 45 days have really progressed well. I feel like the team, there was some shuffle within members of making sure we had everybody in the right positions to be successful. And I think that has worked tremendously to help us. We still have some outdated content testing that needs to be done, but they're doing a good effort to make that up without burdening the city staff. So progress there. money's there, all good things to report. We'll have a line break here and there, unintentional. EDA, they had their progress meeting today. You can see it progressing. Barcom's doing an exceptional job out there. Communication, understanding, architect interaction. It's going well, not going well. So, on schedule. Nothing bad to report or me to report there. Public Works Garage, this is the one we did talk about last month. We're working through FEMA on the last minute, trying to understand the square footage with the ADA compliance and all the ads. This is progressing outside of court, so it is a good sign. CRC is a little slow, but they've been communicating clearly to us, so I feel very good that this is gonna be, it's gonna pay off that we waited on this one instead of ending up in court as well. And then the last thing to report, we did do a submission of some drainage projects, 6 to be exact, a little over 5 million, 5.2 million to GLO. Rob completed that with the city staff and that was submitted. So cross our fingers and call it GLO for our money, but that one's in.
What's the timeline on that one? I know we signed that a couple weeks ago, right, Rob? So. Okay.
It's that one where you get in, this is HUD funds.
Right, yeah.
And so while it's disaster related, it's CDBG, DR, you still have the low to moderate.
Right.
Quals and stipulations. We struggle to meet that here. So what they'll do is they'll go through the low to moderate needs, Wendy first. And so.
I know there's a little extra effort on that, so I appreciate that.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Everybody.
Rob did some extra work.
And even the application, they were flexible with this because of the short term, the amount of short term living, they let us reach out and do some interviews and stuff different to the traditional way. So they were very flexible with this. And that's all we have. Congratulations to the new members. Thank you. Welcome back. So if you need anything, you know how to find us. Good luck. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Mike. Right, item R, resolution adopting an amendment to the 2022 fee schedule by adding fees for parking in the Port Street parking lot, adding a new service fee for the installation of the gas taps and to set meters by qualified contractors for the gas department, amending the residential and commercial gas tap and set meter fee and providing severance and setting effective date.
Council, so what we're talking about here is adding new items and amending items, adding 2 items and amending 2 items. So we'll start with the new Port Street parking lot. We're I'll catch up our new members on where we're at with that. I think it was maybe 2 sessions ago, we approved a way to well, a service provider on how to pay to park at Port Street parking lot right there. And the system that we chose is called Honk Mobile, and it's going to be a sign that you just scan with your phone QR code, and you'll just enter the amount of time you want to park in that said parking lot. So the signs, they're actually ready. I just got notice today. I should be putting them in tomorrow. Should have everything at that parking lot completed by next week. Need to still add some numbers in there and do a little bit more painting, but I'll have all that complete by next week. So anyway, on page 128 of 212, you should see a spreadsheet there where it says Port Street parking lot fees. You'll see the hours we're proposing 0 to 2, 2 to 6, 6 to 12, 12 to 24, 24 to 48, 48 plus. These are the ranges city manager and I came up with. I did some benchmarking with all kinds of other surrounding communities, presented them to the city manager, and
We polled staff to,
yeah.
A group effort.
yes.
And these were the numbers we decided to present to y'all for consideration for low, medium, high.
Couple things we didn't want this to be cheaper than, you know, getting a parking space at a boat barn or something. So, you know, outdoor. So our parameters were, you know, we didn't want it to turn into the best long-term parking deal in the city, right? So
Right.
we didn't want it that cheap. The airport, we pay. The airport's 500 a month, but you have to be associated with a tail.
No, year.
Yeah, excuse me, yeah. Yeah, so, and then we looked at a bunch of parking, we looked at parking in San Antonio, Austin, Corpus. I don't think there's any parking lots in Port A, so, I mean. We dug around, looked at a whole bunch of numbers and came up with, the medium is where we were kind of hitting, but we wanted to give you guys the low, medium, high range. Our vision is that if we ever move forward with, like, for example, red striping of Anchor Drive or some of the other problematic streets where we have a lot of parking issues, would that drive, traffic to this, so it would be more, what we think, sitting around just staff talking, is that we think that probably you're not going to see I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of the 1 to 2, the low hour stuff. I think primarily it's going to be used for overnight, where people just have too many cars and they're gonna, tell Bob to go dump his car for the weekend.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we think is more. Is what you're gonna see is a longer term.
How many cars would be parked there?
It's 147 spots, 6 disabled.
And they'll all be numbered. So you'll go in, park, get your number, walk back to one of the QR signs that I think, how many of the QR signs we get? 4 throughout the parking lot. There'll be the QR ones.
Yes.
Hit the QR, and then you'll have 3 options. Either go to the app. The QR takes you just to a payment page. What are the 3 choices, Lawrence? The app, the pay page. 6 of the honk signs.
And then we have some towing.
Yeah.
I know the girl does that. Parked the girl, but I never looked up much of this. I just.
What are the 3 methods of payment?
So
Payment page.
you can scan, right? They get the QR, and then there is get the app,
Get the app.
and then manually, here's the website. That's all for.
Oh, that's right. So you can. There'll be no walking to City Hall and paying.
Probably, most likely what you might see is a QR code scans will be probably you're out of town or they're gonna leave them up for a long time. People that will actually have the app will probably be the local instead of using it regularly. They'll probably be distinguished. I think people looking manually just don't know what they're doing this.
Challenge.
So 48 hours plus, let's say I want to park for the next 2 years, it's only $40.
Can't park 2 years.
$40. No.
48 hours.
Wait a second. What do we do there?
Yeah, I think there should be some.
No, that should be,
Yeah,
that should be, that's a day. Wait a second.
Yeah, I mean,
Should we make it 72?
272 period, I think.
Yeah.
And then if you want to come back and park again,
for another day, we're paid.
you're
Right.
gonna pay again, yeah.
That's what the day. So we can change that 48 to 72, and then at the end of our sliding scale.
Supposed to do. Management.
So
Yeah, we need to, Lawrence, that last line needs adjustment.
Change it to 48-72.
Well-
That's the end of your scale.
I don't know that you're gonna need a maximum, because if you just get 3 days and you have to come back and park again every 3 days.
Yeah, max.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, but I'm just saying, no one's gonna pay $48 every 3 days over and over. I mean, well, that would be very.
See where the red stripe is going.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
So do you want to have anything in case somebody needs to run into City Hall, but that's where they gotta park because there's no parking here? No, not a validation, but
That's 0 to 2 hours.
you're gonna pay.
I've seen other cities make the statement that they have a 15-minute grace period. I mean, we could consider that, or honestly, we're still talking about enforcement. I don't know if I would say exactly on camera, but how often enforcement will actually be out there. But the way it works is on the phone, they're gonna refresh and it'll show red on who's due, right? So whenever that person's out there, it's when it's gonna happen.
Thank you, Ed, for
And we don't really have a full-time person doing it.
No, we're gonna
Yeah.
probably have one of our beach guys do a run through in the morning on his way out and maybe on the way when he's getting ready to clock out, do another spin through, so.
But the people on the camera, they'll be there in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But, talking to our vendors that, the salesperson for this, device, she told me people, like, she makes it 95% of people want to do the right thing. Like, she said the other 5 people, she said, you can put barbed wire up, figure out a way to get around it, so.
Well, and
So you can't have 30 minutes free if somebody wants to run in here.
But I don't think you're
They're not
gonna get, I mean,
They're
to me, that situation is gonna be few and far between, except for when Daniel had his
That's correct.
outstanding EMS conference last week and
That was awesome.
there was no parking anywhere. But I mean, I think on events like that, at that point, those people will have to be parking over there. And maybe the conference has some kind of arrangement with them, but the everyday person who needs to come to City Hall, we need to make sure there's at least some availability, to park like there is now. I mean,
Yeah.
right.
No, it's,
Well, if you're needing to conduct business at City Hall, you're not,
Right. And walking.
there's always.
even you got part of this grass.
And then we're in that last line, we're gonna do 48 to 72 hours, and then that's a max. We're gonna go max at 72. Is that what you guys wanted to do?
Want to keep going, they gotta go out day again.
Okay, that'll work.
Okay.
They just, park trailers, same thing, they just park it in the line.
So that was gonna be a question that I was sent here, forgive me, I forgot to talk to you about this. I noticed there were other places that did, tickets for incorrect parking. Consider them or not, like if someone kind of double parked, do we want to give them the ticket, or are we gonna rely on our enforcer to get that phone number call and tell them? That would be the other option.
Is there a sign that says no trailers or no campers or they're allowed?
Well, I mean, you couldn't stick a 24-foot boat in there because it'd stick out, 5 feet into the parking there, so it's not right.
Yeah, they have a trailer.
Park right there.
They have a trailer, they would need to pay for 2
I'm
spots.
sure. That's a ticket.
That they're paying.
But the way it's striped out there, there is, a center stripe and then the 2 lanes. So it should be obvious that you crossed.
LT, can we ticket someone for like, the Mercedes that parks at the mall way out in Neverland and parks sideways?
Probably just something effective in heating flow. Because it's a pipe flow.
We'll come up with something.
Okay.
We'll just threaten to tell them. Park in between the lines.
Okay.
All right. I guess we'll move on to the next item if there's no more discussion on that, or there is.
So maybe we should, let's vote on this one separately.
Okay.
Based on the cost of the medium scale with the addition of 48 to max.
I'll second. Great. Any further discussion? Brand, please call the roll.
Medium.
He did say. Yeah. Yeah, you said, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you. For the other items, we're talking about doing an amendment to the tap fee, specifically under. This is going to be. If everyone has a copy of the fee schedule, I'll just refer to it. It's the category is called utilities gas on the fee schedule. Existing, there is a tap fee, and there is also a meter set fee. We're proposing changing those set charges in 173 and 288, 196 and 265 respectively, for commercial residential on those two items, to material market costs. And then as determined by the gas department superintendent. Reason being is we're having huge fluctuations on the costs on parts, meters, and all these other parts. So we're getting to a spot where we don't want to get to a spot where we are losing money by not continually having to update this. So if we put it to basically a pass-through charge, whatever we're being charged to purchase these items, that's the receipt we'll get to the citizens. That way we're guaranteed. City. Labor. We did not want to put that in. We felt like that would bring it a little too high. That wasn't calculated also in the existing cost. I looked at that, it would pretty much skyrocket it. So, but I'm glad you mentioned that, because when I go to the third item, we're talking about adding also to the same category of utilities, gas, a new item. And this is going to be called contractor tap inspection fee. This is something new we came up with. We're proposing the council to consider. We're getting a little bit behind on gas taps with the team, because we have a lot of projects going on. So we're thinking creating this new category of allowing city qualified contractors to do the taps for customers. This would allow them to do so. And the charge we will have for this is what we're calling C normal working hourly rates, which Dorla is describing. That's in existence right now in the fee schedule. Basically, that is your rates for having a utility person there. While the contractors are doing the tap, we will have one of our persons there to monitor, inspect, and collect all the records that's needed. So that would be the labor charge that's already in existence to monitor qualified contractors. Here is that. Normal working hourly rates is on page 139 of 212, about in the middle. You may see it in parentheses with NWH rates. One person and vehicle, $30 an hour, two persons, $60 an hour. We're anticipating only need one person to be there while contractors work on this time. But again, the effort and the thought here is to speed up the gas taps. We've got kind of a little bit of a log, and we're hoping that this might get us caught up a little quicker by allowing contractors to start doing this service.
So the builder or contractor, whoever would come in and just notify you and say, hey, city, can you do it? And if you're like, look, we can't get to it for 2 weeks, they'll come back and say, okay, well, I'm gonna hire XYZ company, and then you would schedule that, and then it would just be a pass through.
Correct. So right now, whenever we get the request or a work order for a tap, it sits on our desk with the gas department, and they get to it as a can.
We're like 80 something in the hole, right?
Right. We're a little pretty behind, and we're getting more and more. There's so much development here. So what I was talking to our gas superintendent about is he will get word out if this passes to our contractors that this is available. And we're hoping that, also, like you said, whenever people call in, we'll start giving them that option.
Yeah.
You can wait for us to do it, or here are our city qualified contractors. And I've already asked, our superintendent to give me some names. I got a couple names of some contractors that we already know are qualified, and ready to roll. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He already listed out. I'm sure it'll grow. He'll vet these people and pretty much start a little policy.
So that we know that that person didn't go in and just give some non-approved person. We want to make sure they follow the approval.
Yep. And then plus, that's why we will have the charge of the existing normal hourly working rate. We will have a person there monitoring.
Yeah, we do have a monitor on site.
That's,
You're saying.
Yes.
Yep. So this would be amendment to tap fee, residential, commercial, to material market costs. Same thing for setting meter, residential, commercial, material market costs. And then a new item being recommended for contractor tap inspection fee to the utility category of the schedule is what's being recommended. And the fee schedule is on page 136. Sorry, that's parking.
139.
139. Yep, 139. See in red.
it's a good idea to become more efficient.
Yep.
Anybody else have any questions for Lawrence? And that we don't.
Have we had contractors tap into our gas line in the past, or is it always the city?
Yeah, it's always a city whenever we get a service order for a resident, but we do have Equix building out of system right now, so. You know, that whole build, they are pretty proficient.
Okay, I mean, they are, but it's just the people that. Is it a plumber? Is it a licensed plumber? And it's licensed plumbers.
Well, it's more of a general contractor that's qualified.
In gas, taps, it's called poly electrical fusion.
Yeah, a lot of plumbers don't have it.
Okay, right, but they can. Yeah. But any contractor that gets that certification has been allowed. That's why.
Equix is one of the qualified. They're not plumbers. They're a contractor. They're a gas company.
But not every plumber is gonna say, yeah, I'll take the business.
No, because most of them aren't going to be certified in the fusion and.
I actually just got qualified.
Yeah, once you start at LLC.
Yeah, but no, we're gonna, there's law behind it, so we gotta make sure we have all those qualification records.
Let's make a motion. to change.
Okay. I'll second. All right, there's a motion, a second. Any further discussion?
When did these go into effect?
It's an immediate, is that the way for it?
Okay.
All right. Grant, please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Right, item S, awarding matching funds for the Coastal Erosion Planning and Response Act, KEPRA, to the Texas General Land Office for engineering, data collection, and permitting for restoration of the nature preserve at Charlotte Pasture. Matching funds not to exceed $240,000 for fiscal year 2023-2024.
Hello, hello, everyone. Okay, so this is matching funds to apply for the grant because we needed to have support, whatever matching funds you had by resolution or however clearly put in there. So the applications are due June 1st. But so David pulled it up on the Google Earth, but the map is also on, there was an attachment on the first page. showing the area that we're talking about. This is the area that eroded out from the blowout bulkhead and the first block revetment blowout, Hurricane Harvey. So immediately, it looked, by measuring it on Google Earth, we lost about 5.5 acres of land. And then since we closed it in 2021, an additional up to about maybe 11 or 12 acres of land. So we've been working with Stantec engineering firm on starting the planning process this fiscal year. And they got some LiDAR data, which shows the elevations of the area, and are estimating that we need upwards near 200 cubic yards of material to restore this land. So 200,000.
200,000,
What I just said. No,
It's a little-
not 200. So then they did a survey in December of 2019, and it was about 45,000 cubic yards. So there was quite a bit of erosion that occurred after that. That was still a lot of material needed. And Broadus and Del Sol has been fighting for FEMA to provide the material for this restoration, but we've been denied in the appeal process twice. So
They don't like to be.
yeah, so the habitats that I just put here, like lost, there was the upland along the bulkhead, and marsh and tidal flat. There's a shallow pond behind the pavilion. So all that is gone. So that's the area we're looking to restore the elevations to support those habitats. So the Texas General Land Office, that's who this grant is through. They have a coastal resiliency plan, and it was updated in 2023, and we are a tier 1 project. This specifically, well, it was including the protection of the shoreline, which is underway, and including the rock revetment, and then the restoration of the habitats lost is a tier 1 project. So what that means is that as we apply for this KEPRA funds, for engineering, permitting, all that is 40% match requirement. But if it's a tier 1 project, they are covering construction at 100%. So we could invest some money now to figure out, basically, this would be determining sediment sources. So we have a list already, but basically this would be covering the data analysis to go to those sites. There's a placement area down the ship channel a little bit that's an active site. We could potentially take material from there, or beneficial use of dredge material, other private dredging going on, or purchasing sand, which is a material which is the most expensive. So they would start exploring the best options first, do the data collection to see if it's suitable material, if it's not contaminated, if it's the right grain size, that kind of thing, and then apply for a permit for actually putting material here. So that's pretty much what's and then the design. So where we would want certain elevations following placement of material and then next KEPRA cycle is in 2 years, so we could apply for the construction funds, which are estimated to be $4.2+ million. So we would hopefully be getting, the permitting, design, engineering, data collection funded this year, and then at 40% match, which is $240,000, and then applying the next round for construction, which would be 100% covered by KEPRA. And they have extra money from it's called GOMESA, the Gulf of Mexico Energy Securities Act. So that's where a lot of the money is coming from, where they're able to cover these larger construction projects. Anything else that it's kind of a large investment up front, but we were talking about, it's, if we can get all of that covered, it's 5% of the whole project. Yeah. So, and then still working our magic, maybe with FEMA or other
We won't count on that.
Yeah, so, and the other thing is we are trying to talk with some partners and other folks to try and lessen the burden of the match on the city and maybe get some other organizations or entities to cover some of the matching requirements for this project.
So
So,
I think initially it was 45,000. Urban, now it's 220. That erosion's been going on, we haven't had a hurricane.
Mhm.
Is that just the ships going up and down?
yeah, well, the bulkhead, the largest opening is closed, so most of the erosion is really slow, it's really slowed down. If you go to that area where the rock revetment is blown out, you can still see the rock underneath, so it's not like just like over by the pavilion, we were watching,
It's 11
chunks
feet deep.
of mesquite trees and big chunks of, grass falling into the hole. Over there, it's just like it moves really quick. And there's a lot of sand in the water when it moves, but it's not large, like, cliffs falling into the water. So I think,
Can't help it, some of that, they don't-
well,
they're
that's
not
something that we
supposed to.
can talk to them about contributing
ask
some matching funds.
Well, but.
Sure.
Or-
Yeah, the additional losses.
A lot of you.
Yeah, and that's why it was so important to make sure that got hardened again.
But does he feel like there's still erosion after it got? Well, I mean, after.
No.
I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's minimal at that second opening.
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah, because we had some markers out by the pavilion and, there's none of that's like eroding away. That at some point, we lost we were losing like 10 feet of land a week when, in 2020, when we went into the Greek alphabet with the hurricanes.
Yeah.
The tides were so high and it was just,
Yeah, if you look real close, so watch, I'm gonna zoom into, like, for example, right next to the pavilion. So if you look, so there's right after the hurricane. Then let me draw a line on the shoreline. So there's the shoreline. And then watch what it does. There's a year and a half later. There, and then we put all that rock there. See how close it got to the pavilion? I mean, it was getting so close to the pavilion that we were gonna lose the pavilion. So we ended up rocking that section right there.
yeah, I think that was like the
Because-
end of that summer.
Yeah, because we still hadn't, we had just gotten the closure up. But that
happened in
chunk
summer,
of land,
and I think by January it was.
what did I say? Oh, crumbing.
Don't, you need to use that, that's a good word. for you.
I mean, we lost, I mean, it was probably. Yeah, there's the land there. So we lost. $63 feet.
And on the other side,
Yeah.
too, but this was like, really easy place to market and also like a very nice building or pavilion to protect, so. It used to be out there all by itself. Yeah,
So we got Kepler funds. These are Kepler funds, the Coastal Erosion Response Protection Act. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Kepler. Back in 2000, early 2000s, like 2002, 3, and that's what Bill actually helped build the concrete bulkhead in Charlie's Pasture. So we're kind of due. We haven't applied for Kepler funds in quite a while. Ray and I had a good talk with, what's his name?
Kevin Frenzel and Thomas Dernan.
Yeah, which are- Yeah, they head off the Kepler program for the General Land Office. And they think that both of these, the next one's another Kepler project, but they think that these are both going to qualify, score pretty high. So I mean, it's great money. It's 60/40 is not the greatest. But when they say, hey, you only have to do 60/40 of your design and engineering and data, we'll cover 100% of the construction. That's amazing money. Because the construction on both of these, hers and this next one we're gonna talk about, it's, it's big dollars. And if you can get them to flip the bill for that level of construction, and then you only be on the hook 40% for engineering, data and survey and permitting, it's too good to pass up. So we knew years ago that FEMA is not in the business, even though we've tried hard. The directive to Ray was, hey, go find some free money. So this is I think this is probably as good of a shot as we have of getting some repairs. So
We have this out there and other places too.
So Ray's gonna write these two applications here in the next couple of weeks.
So actually, I started mine preparation.
And I'm gonna copy.
Detail, but it's not too bad. Yeah, and so this the KEPRA projects would be starting next fiscal year. So they wouldn't start like putting contracts. Whoever that, gets awarded the projects, they would start getting the contracts together in October. So, but since we need support by resolution for just to apply, why we're asking you today.
Everybody is.
So you're approving the resolution, but you're not 100%. You still have other opportunities. Number one, this summer you can budget this money. And then two, there's nothing to say 6 months from now, if they said, oh, hey, you got that, you've been awarded the grant, the city is under no obligation to take it. You can always say, thanks, we really don't have the money at this point. So you're not just tonight, you are tentatively approving that you're going to commit to it, but you still have other opportunities to say yes or no.
And other opportunities to find the funding.
Yeah. Yeah. If someone came in and said, hey, I got free funding, all you need to do is go get a permit. You're under no obligation to have to do this project. If it gets awarded, is what I'm saying. So tonight you're really approving the resolution that we need to stick in this application packet, but at a later date, you're actually going to be budgeting and at an even much later date committing to the funds. So you're not writing a check tomorrow.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve. That was a motion second, any further discussion? Grant, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, item T, resolution awarding matching funds for the Coastal Erosion Planning and Response Act application to the Texas General Land Office for engineering, data collection, design and permitting for the installation of large rock revetment installation seaward to the existing concrete bulkhead sections of Charlie's Pasture. Matching funds not to exceed $130,425.
Okay, so following this phone call that we had last week with Ray and the KEPRA director staff, we quickly tried to get some numbers on this. And what we have here is there's approximately 4,000. It's roughly about 4,600 feet of concrete bulkhead in Charlie's Patch that we have. Yeah, right around 4,600. Here's a problem we're having, and I'm going to draw it. I'm going to zoom in here. The concrete bulkhead consists of very tall. They're about 9 inches thick. They're panels that get jetted down into the seabed, and then they have a male and female end, so they're like tongue and groove. And then they're they're probably about 8 feet wide. And then the next one slides down and they can all stick together by tongue and groove as they follow the coastline. Let me draw a person here so you get an idea. So here's a little stick person over here. And here's the water. Here's the top of the water. And now let me draw you what the sea floor bed is doing over there. Shallows out away from it, it's shallow. And then as you approach the bulkhead wall, it's doing that. It's scouring along the face. And where you guys approved that blowout 2 months ago, it had scoured below the toe of the 16-foot panel. So there was nothing on the seaward side pushing up against that bulkhead face. It was all pressure coming from the landward side, and it blew the toe of that two panels out. So that's what's happening in certain sections, not the majority, but we haven't done that bathymetry survey out there, every 5 years or so, but we're pretty sure it has to do with the accelerated and size, the growth of ship wake traffic that's going, because whenever the waves don't come in perpendicular and attack the wall, they run horizontally with the wall. So as they're rolling down the wall, they're eroding that edge, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. And we need to protect this asset. This is a KEPRA asset, meaning it will most likely score very high because KEPRA does not want this asset to fail. So we think we have a great opportunity to get KEPRA funds. And what this project is, item T, is we'll come in here with large rock and we'll place large stone in here, and it'll help to start catch sediment, and sediment will fall down in between the rocks and be able to stay in place more because the turbulence won't be as bad, because we'll stack rocks kind of in this fashion for 4,600 feet. We'll go in there and place large, 18 to 24-inch stone, in that configuration right there for the entire distance.
You can see those waves when they go, and then when it goes by, just see that swirling.
And if we place enough rock in there, and if we place enough rock that's as you approach the surface of the channel, it'll do two things for us. It'll help the erosion, but as those ship wake waves travel longitudinally along that face, they'll start dragging on that rock, and that energy will start to dissipate instead of just rolling as a real powerful swell with nothing in its way, and then coming all the way down to the pier and smashing into the, that little cul-de-sac down there. The waves will drag on these rocks. If we have enough money and get them up high enough, the wave energy, as it's circling below the wave, it'll drag on this rock and start to break. So we think there'll be a great benefit in the loss of sediment, and then helping dissipate the ship wake energy that's running longitudinally along the face of the bulkhead. The engineers did contact me. They came up with this 130 number. They said, Dave, that number needs to go up to 300. It's not. They want to go for the biggest amount of rock that they can go for, and the 130 number gets you a little bit of rock down there, but we do want to bump that number up to 300 so that we can get the maximum level of rock. And once again, it's a tier 1 project, so they would pay for the construction 100%. We would only be on the hook for 40% of engineering, design, survey, and permitting. So of course, this would be a core permit. So it's on the same timeline as what Ray was saying earlier. You know, core permits are 18 months, so this is it's a multi-step process, but we got to get some rock in there. Your only other option, you have two options: let it fail and walk away from it, and then it starts eroding. Then that's a horrible. We can't even consider that.
With the big rocks for the same where it lays on.
Well,
Channel
you're gonna get movement because you're gonna have some erosion over in this area, and you're gonna see some shifting. But it's just something that we're just gonna have to. And you guys talked about on the last one. We have to reestablish a working rapport with the port, with all our partners, Cheniere, Coastal Bend Basin and estuaries. When the bulkhead got built, we had the city, the general land office, Cheniere, Port of Corpus Christi, Coastal Bend Basin and estuaries. All those entities were working together on permitting, on providing funds, providing monitoring. So it's critical that we get that relationship rebuilt because we should be getting help for this level of ship weight damage that we're seeing. And I think if I think port leadership is changing, and I think we can reestablish that working rapport and get some help for these. I mean, shoreline erosion is only going to get worse and worse in Port Aransas. I mean, we're seeing it here. We're seeing it. We're seeing it in front of Klein's Landing, in front of the original Port Aransas Marina property. We're seeing, they've dredged deeper. Ships are getting bigger, and we're going to be combating this in the future, year after year after year, and we gotta get help.
Will rocks be added? I mean, once you start this process to maintain.
Yes, I mean, yeah, absolutely. You look at
it, you get studied, and guess what? And he puts more rock in.
exactly. I mean, you look at the rock revetment that we put in down towards Charlie Pastor. It was put in 2009. No, excuse me, 2008. In 2000, when was Ike? Ike was 8. No. This one 2001. This is. I'll tell you exactly what it is. There's 8, and it's just you can see the construction roads just getting in. So it was. There it is in 6. It doesn't exist. So it was 7. It was 2008 that we put it in. The next year it got hit by Ike. We rebuilt it a second time, and now it's being rebuilt a third time. So it's already the rock revetment is on its third go round in 13 years. So yes, you have to continually plan.
If you didn't have the rock there, you would have a massive.
Let me ask you this. Has anybody talked to the board about the future of the ship traffic growing? They finished the new bridge over there. They've already bridged the channel.
Yeah.
Ships are gonna be bigger. There's gonna be more traffic.
Anybody
Any numbers on that?
No, we don't. We used to, prior to 2016, we had working groups where it was the port, the U.S. Coast Guard, the Pilots Association, the city, TxDOT Ferry. We had a big working team that about every 3 or 4 years they would meet and they would, give us information on, what are the new changes coming in ships? How fast do they have to go? What are the requirements of, the pilots? How fast do they have to drive these things? So, back in 16 and prior, we had good working groups, and we need to reestablish that working group and for funding purposes and engineering and design purposes, we gotta get that working group reestablished and get all that information.
And that went away.
Yeah, it kind of went away. The hurricane hit and, a lot of other stuff, so. So, yes, that working group went away and needs to come back. So I think with T, please consider to bump it up to 300K. And again, you're not 100% committing to that funding.
Okay.
It's just, this is the resolution for the
Okay.
application submittal in a later date. If the hard numbers come back to you guys when we actually get into contracts with engineers and designers.
So we run the risk of, because we don't have this happening right now, of having another blowout or Washington. They could happen.
No,
Yeah.
And the number of ships, they really are pushing a lot of ships through.
With that last blowout that happened, we surveyed it. We did a bathymetry survey. We need to get moving.
They can have it.
Yes.
I make a motion. Increase the $130,000 to $300,000. Pass the resolution.
All right. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Item U, discuss and take possible action on traffic issues at the intersection located at the corner of Station Street and Avenue G. That's you. Item U. No, you for you. I don't have a you, so. Well, I was just,
Yeah, let me zoom in on it real quick.
we had talked about it. We have a lot of wrecks there
All right, there it is.
in
Right
the
there.
summer.
Station and G. So you got the stripes on the west corner, golf cart on the north, Forte Pizzeria on the east, and the Best Western on the south corner.
It's not so much, it's like when you pull up, if you're going south. You have to pull up into the crosswalk to see past those golf carts. And then if you're going north, and there's a bunch of cars parked on the street side of the stripes, which sometimes there is, sometimes there's not. It's the same thing. But I didn't know if there was any way we could do something there. To improve that intersection, but. Then we talked about a four-way stop sign, but they've always said that it would back it up to Alice with the traffic, if it's traffic. And so sometimes it backs up anyway to Alistair from the beach. But I didn't know. It was possible to ask to push those golf carts back.
Yes, yeah. So I did look at that, Joellen, and one thing I found was that these carts, so the actual property line is about right through these carts, like so. So it actually does the line, let me draw it real quick. So the line comes down right through those carts and then doglegs back this way, right through all those carts. So one ordinance, we have an ordinance that says on a corner lot within a 15-foot radius of the corner intersection, nothing can be placed over 2.5 feet. 30 inches, right? Yeah, 30 inches. So if you measure back 15 feet from the corner, it's about right here. So nothing should be in at least that right there. So we could get, and these carts should not be in the city right away. So all these carts need to come back about 5 feet, I'm just guessing 4 to 5 feet. And then we can empty this corner. And then these guys here need to come back about 4 feet. So that's one thing we can
I mean,
do.
do y'all think that would help? I mean, or
I do. I mean, that at least helps the person who's sitting right here at station. And they're looking to the west, they're looking right through golf carts.
With a light, not feasible at all, you think because of the backlit, but
if you guys want to entertain a light, so here's the issue with a light and a four-way and either one. So like, for example, Allister, it can back up from Allister all the way past,
The bank.
oh yeah, it'll go, yeah, it'll get all,
Every day.
yeah, it'll get all the way down to,
Yeah, you know.
yeah, it'll get past Treasure Island. So that's 1,800 feet. It's only 800 feet from Allister to Station. So it's a much shorter distance. Yeah, it's well, a little longer. Hold on. It's right at 1,000 feet from Station to Allister, but it's. There's the bank. So like to Treasure Island is 2,700. So the issue would be is if we put a four-way stop or a light, would it ultimately, you'd start, it's a domino effect, the first person comes, the next guy has to stop, and then all of a sudden, you could very easily be back all the way up to the main intersection, and then you would have catastrophic effects because people would be right out in the middle of the intersection stopped. And then you wouldn't have, people wouldn't be able to, you guys know what happens when an intersection gets too blocked, people will pull out in it and not be able to move. And then the north-south can't move. And then, yeah, so if you guys were interested in looking at it, I would suggest you guys model this and hire an engineering traffic firm. You would have to absolutely be 100% sure what the implications would be if you guys put a four-way stop there. If you wanted to test it, you can put a cop there.
And if the light was there and the traffic, instead of light wasn't exactly timed, per se, the same seconds each way. It was mainly open with the through traffic, and then it still gave an opportunity, for somebody to cross, because I've seen, school kids can't cross the street there. The traffic gets so bad in the area. People that are on one side of town can't get on the other side of town. You find yourself picking your way around. I'd like to suggest a study.
Hey, Daniel, does the school do? Oh, Dan, does the school do cross guards anywhere? Was that a thing in the past? Right, it's nothing like way down at the intersections like on Allister and Beach Street. Right.
It's mainly summertime, but still a lot of people, there's just pedestrians, some are walking to the beach, some are walking back. But, a lot of them now, they don't go all the way down to 11th and G, they cut through J or Shibuya Sands and go down to G and Station. Try to save some time and cut through. I think that's everywhere. Yeah, it is. I mean, it is. You can't, I don't, in the summertime, when I leave the bank, I don't try to get out on Allister to go somewhere. I go the other direction, even though it's longer, because it's impossible. You can't make a left turn. You gotta go, you gotta make a right turn. So depends what day it is. I'll just determine which way. I think that clearing the line of sight on that one suggested property that they suggested would make a difference, at least, see, particularly if you have pedestrians, who are trying to get around and cross, because you don't want some cars pulled all the way up and then pedestrians standing there and you can't see around and you don't know if it's safe. We could improve the crosswalks to make them clearer. We could try that, but right. But I think a light would have that effect.
There's gotta be something that's
Well, we used to have a light at Trout Street.
to be able to.
And they never put it back because
They
it was
never put
causing traffic.
Exactly.
I try to avoid it, don't go to that intersection, because in the summertime, a lot of people don't know what to do, or they annual, or they on their own turn it into a four-way stop, and everybody's looking. And there are accidents.
No, there's accidents. What would the expense of a study be?
I'd have to bring in number back. I mean, we recently did one for the ferry stacking. That was all model. Rick, do you remember who did that for us?
Yeah.
Yeah, TxDOT hired somebody that came in and did it. Who was it? Yeah, TxDOT paid for it. I can find out and bring it back to you guys.
I've just noticed every time I go that corner, I'm in the middle, I mean, almost completely in the crosswalk.
How soon could you notify the property owner?
We could do that. Yeah.
We've already had.
Oh, really? Crowded.
Yeah, so I could bring the number to you guys next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Item B, presentation of the investment report for quarters in December 31st, 2021, March 31st, 2022, June 30th, 2022, September 30th, 2022, December 31st, 2022, and March 31st, 2023.
So this is the last fiscal year and it's gonna catch you up to date. First off, before we get in that, Rick, when it's something out. David needs to be commended that Etch a Sketch really got you a long.
This person is getting very good.
If it wasn't for Etch a Sketch. Very
did a lot of
Anyway, this is six quarters worth of investment reports. And if you look back at the very first investment report, we were earning approximately 0.02 interest, 0.02% on our textbook fund. And as of March of 2023, that has jumped up to 4.45%. Good for us in earning interest, but that's the economy. But that is our interest in textbook back in August of 2022. Since we were not earning anything in interest, we did diversify some into laddered CDs. They'll ladder out at maturity ranging from August of this year out to August of 25. Stayed under the SEC collateral limit of 250,000 for each one, and they're earning everywhere from 3.12% on up to 3.4%. So these are these investments.
So when those funds mature and you see mature, are you going to just put it back in the textbook because those rates are high?
It depends on, well, depends on when they mature, what the rates are, and, we analyze it. Right now, textbook, actually Texas Class is doing a tad bit better than textbook. We may need to move a little bit out of, we've been textbook heavy just because for years it's the one set up for all of our ACHs going in and out. Wires. There is there are two more investment pools that are out there in the state that we might look at too. One's performing a little bit better than both Texas Class and Texas right now. Just depends.
And when you put it in those, there's, you can pull in and out, right?
Oh,
More like
yes.
money market accounts.
They're exactly, they're have to be at $1 NAV. They cannot go more than like 1/150. They have to stay right at by state law. Right at that dollars, they're exactly like a money market account. And we actually added textbook, our big FEMA accounts, instead of running them through our depository. Since we're trying to wire more and pay via ACH more, so we don't get odd problems. We do pay some of those really big checks through textbook directly with wires and switches. Those are your quarterly investment reports, and let's show me more questions on them.
Any other questions for Darla on those? All right, item 10, city manager report.
What do I have? Ledge. Couple crazy ledge bills, a lot of stuff's dying. A lot of the crazy ones are dying. All the STR preemption bills are dead. That's a good thing. So all the little nutty. Rick, what were some of the nuttiest ones of the? Yeah. Yeah, so those are dead. 3169, that was the sneaky one that, see if that's in here. That one, 3921, that was the 31 units per acre. That was the super crazy density one. That bill died. House Bill 3135, no ordinances to impede building a new home. That one died. One that's still that's problematic. It did get out of the Senate. Went over to the House Business and Commerce and passed. And it's back at calendar. Whether or not it makes it to the floor for vote, we do not know at this point, but that is House Bill 2266. And Rick wrote a letter to Colcourt and Lamontia the other day on this one. In 2226 allows the state license holder to bring legal action against the city if a city regulation results in an adverse economic impact on the license holder. And one of the examples they gave us was that a bar that has a state alcohol license, if they deemed that the city's parking requirement was causing an adverse economic impact to them, they could sue us. Yeah, it was pretty nutty. So we're watching that one. We need to, we're going to reach out to Todd in the morning and hopefully kill that one. There is one of the ADU ones that is still alive, and that is Senate Bill 1412 would authorize a property owner to build, sell, or rent an accessory dwelling unit in any residential zoning district or unzoned lot in the city.
But doesn't that one say too that you can impose limited
well,
size and
further, the bill would prohibit a city from imposing regulations on ADUs, including sizes, parking, and external feature requirements. This would effectively preempt local regulation of ADUs in city neighborhoods. The committee substitute protects deed restrictions and HOAs that limit ADUs, but otherwise, we wouldn't be able to regulate them. So that one's a problem. 1412. Another bad one that's sitting in calendar is Senate Bill 1787 Betancourt would prohibit a city from adopting or enforcing an ordinance that requires a residential lot to be larger. Oh, wait, that one died. That's right. They tagged on in a city of 80,000 or more. Yeah, that's right. So that's right. That one's not a problem anymore. Yeah, this one here, this is Burroughs. We're watching this one too. House Bill 2127. Burroughs and Creighton seeking to prevent cities and counties from adopting or enforcing local ordinances or orders related to any activity contained in several state codes. It's real vague, and a lot of people are arguing that they don't know what it means and how it could affect cities.
That was 2027.
Yeah.
They, something like that might die.
Yeah, good.
Take it out.
Then there's a big fight over, the big fight is, between Abbott and the senators want, for tax relief. Versus the House's idea of good tax relief, let me see if I did. All right, so the House version wants to lower the state's cap on annual increases to a home's taxable value from 10% to 5% and extend the benefit to businesses which don't have such a cap. However, the governor doesn't like that. And the Senate's version is to cut property tax to boost the state's homestead exemption for school districts. So they're both beating each other's versions up pretty bad. I think Dan Patrick said, what did he tell the House? He said, it's dead on the floor. Don't even bother submitting it. Yeah. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick and property tax warriors, not sure, in the Senate have declared the House's appraisal tax proposal dead on arrival in the chamber, refusing to even bring it up for a committee vote. So they're fighting pretty hard. And that's when the governor's saying, we're going to bring on the special session in the summer.
I think it's gonna be the same for school choice stuff.
That's another big one, the whole voucher thing. They did some tweaking to it a little bit. I think the House kind of gave in on special needs and schools that receive F rating or D ratings. So they kind of gave him a little bit of tidbit, but not enough for the governor. He still doesn't like it. So he's going to keep fighting for the vouchers. Yeah. Yeah. So he's pretty adamant on the voucher thing.
In the beach field, they died.
Oh,
434.
yeah.
I've never even seen it. I stopped way back.
Oh, just to Galveston.
I remember because.
Yeah, it got back. Yeah. So a lot of stuff's dying right now.
Yeah, they're running out of time.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll keep shooting you guys updates if we need to. And Rick's firing off letters. We're gonna circle back with Todd and Deirdre and get the status on a couple of these other ones.
All right.
Gas system. So we're gonna have at the goals workshop in the budget, we're gonna come up with some ideas for our sole source gas issue. Just so you guys know, we're still working on it. Mitch, who resigned back in February, came back week before last. We met with Mitch on an idea that he had actually already been working on, which is a really good concept. And that is to develop. So right now, our big weakness, according to our engineers, is that we have one line on the bay side that comes down and feeds us. And as development and construction continues to grow on that west side, our biggest danger isn't so much the well running out or getting cut off, it's someone breaking the line. And in talking with Mitch, he has a plan in place that he had started to work on. And it's a kind of a simple idea, but it's to bring a parallel high pressure line down the beach side, all the way down to the Island Moorings Area 51. And you would feed it from several crossings that he has already put in. So he has a crossing put in near the fire station, near the Episcopal Church or the Episcopal Center. He has 4 of them already put in. And so the only segment of single line at that point that you would have would just be from Fish Pass down to the fire station, which is about 7,000 feet. So that's a great idea. That way you could if you had a break anywhere from the fire station down to Island Moorings, you would be able to isolate it and then feed town from your oceanside high pressure line. So basically you'd have one on each side of the highway running all the way into town. So that one's way better than going back to the north and trying to get to Aransas Pass. That was crazy cost prohibitive. Other ideas we're looking at are, of course, for the source issue would be, and we're gonna bring you some numbers anyway, but trying to get to Aransas Pass, tying into the city of Corpus Christi, and a possible second Mustang Island source. Another concept we're gonna have is if you remember, we were bringing out these big tanker trucks and they were sat out there for over a week. And we're thinking about maybe building one of those in town somewhere to where it could just, it would always sit there and it would be in a enclosure, but not, so air could get through it, but it would sit there and we would keep it pressurized. And then once a month, we'd cycle through it, use the gas and then repressurize it up, and then it would sit for another month. But it would give us about 36 hours of gas. So if you did have a catastrophic break, you wouldn't have to rely on the truck hauling, but from Houston and hooking up, we would just be able to close down the area where there was a construction break or if it was a source issue, and we would be able to feed off of that holding cell for up to 36 hours while the Houston truck was en route. So that's another concept that we at least want to get a number for you guys, but we'll be bringing all of these numbers to you this summer for you guys to look at, possibly come up with some ideas. Civic AV, we are, Peggy's working on. Yeah, you want to grab that one? Okay, I'll let Rick do Civic Center AV. Update on the city parkland. I know Joanne put that on. Colleen's hammering out the last details of the contract, so that should be signed. But I know they have started some of the work, so they have kicked off some of the surveying and design work for the, that's for the county property that we purchased last. When did we buy that? April. Yeah. So it's kicking off.
David, the conference center update, I know that we went and have done a little exploring on RFP.
Mhm.
Got the bid. And then that hit
Oh, the study.
the study.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So Brent has hired a group to do the conference center study. Not sure what the timeline is on it, but I think they're moving pretty quick on it. Yeah. Yes, they are moving forward with that. All right.
Okay. Item 11, staff reports. Darla?
Have your written report in the packet. We have had auditors here this last week and be on the lookout for they have to send to council that was currently sitting fiscal year confirmation letters, just some things asking you some general questions. If you could get those back as soon as possible once you receive them. And if you want to bring them here, we can mail them, but if you don't send them back, they're going to keep emailing me and bugging you, and then I'll have to get you to come in and get those in, because we'd like to get that report out to you hopefully next month. Just to point out a couple of the economic indicators, hotel tax was at 29% for the year, fiscal year running to date. April, the month of April, it says it's up 68%, but I want everybody to be a little, I don't want to say leery, but numbers are skewed for these next few months, because if you remember, this is the time of year when we kicked off hotel tax collections through the new US program. And we had some growing pains of getting in the credit card companies and getting everything cleared with D-checks correctly. So some of your numbers for monthly are gonna be a little up and down and you want to, I would advise looking more at your year-to-date figure than just your monthly figure. Sales tax for the same period is only up 2.42% for the fiscal year. Golf carts, we're running about 400 plates ahead of last year for the year so far. And of course, we're getting ready. Not only do we have an audit to present, but we've mentioned a lot of things tonight for budget. And we need to set some dates for a council goals workshop. We can send out some poll numbers to y'all via poll dates to you via email. Traditionally, we've done it the week of July 4th. 4th falls on a Tuesday, which would really kind of mess up that week because we've kind of usually done it on a Wednesday, all day Wednesday. I don't think anybody wants to come in the morning of the 5th. Maybe you can do, great. We'll be here, but so I don't know if y'all want to look at maybe the week before or possibly Thursday the 6th. Maybe Monday. the 10th. You're getting a little later than, pardon?
I can't the following.
Yes.
The 10th through the 14th.
Right.
Yeah.
And the 10th through the 14th, this is getting honestly a little
Too
late.
late.
Yeah.
Because the 25th is when we should be getting the certified roll. If you wanted to back it up a week, sometime between the 26th and the 30th, I don't know, David, how your schedule.
No, that looks good for me.
And how it would be for everyone. I know that we are gonna have. When are we talking about trying to have some public safety meetings? 22nd is when it's closing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, a special meeting.
Yes, a special meeting anyway to discuss some public safety, but we, you know, that's gonna take a little while on its own, so you may not want to put that with the council goals workshop.
But
Unless you're gonna go into a day and a half.
The council goals workshop will do like previous years where we meet in here. We'll start with breakfast and work until as late as we can that day.
Yeah.
So it's really like a one day.
Usually we do it in a day.
Right.
We always post an agenda for the second day in case there's any carry forward and we have any problems, but you know. Typically council, we start at 9 o'clock and could go, you know. Usually we finish around 4, but if we had to go till 6, you know, so we didn't have to come back the next day, then so. So be that. So the last week of June would probably be preferable over the first week of July, unless anyone is out of town. We don't know Kelly's schedule right now, so we also have to check with him, but we can do some things. I think that is good. So.
We trying to avoid like Fridays and Mondays or try to make it more like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
I think Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is better to concentrate on than a Monday and Friday. If anybody has anything going on and we start running late, you might not be happy for here at 6+. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 27th through the 29th. We know we won't be doing it Tuesday the 4th or Wednesday the 5th. So I could send out, Francisca could send out kind of a poll for 27th through the 29th and the 6th. Those dates sound good tentatively. Can I do some? I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when we have the most
Yeah.
meetings. All right.
But that's really the only big one. I mean, that.
Yeah. That's the only really long one.
Or 29.
27,
One of
28,
those. It won't be
29.
all three of those people. Like that.
One day, one of
Do
those
any of
3
those,
days.
27th, 28th, or 29th. Oh, it is moved up to the week before.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, definitely don't want to
It's
conflict
on a
with that.
Thursday.
Started, yeah,
What day?
Oh, the
Still-
party. They don't fish till Friday, the big guy.
but maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Yeah,
27th.
might be better. Yeah, Tuesday.
Okay. We'll send out some things because we've got a lot to get ready for that first half.
Good.
So. You have any other questions?
Did we say Tuesday the 27th?
Not officially, it'll be tentatively. We'll
Okay.
confirm the date via email. Look for Francisca's communication. We would start at 9 a.m. so. Oh, darn, I have vacation now, I'm just kidding. I don't.
Okay, super. Okay, thanks, Darby. All right, Lawrence.
Going through the project updates.
Lakers start in 15 minutes.
Mine the only one you tell to hurry up.
Because you had that great, big, awesome report.
Yeah.
Excited about it.
What I'll do is I'll just kind of hammer through real quick about what are the latest per project changes, but if anyone has a question on anything, just please ask. I'll go back to whatever it is. So airport fuel tank, that is scheduled with the vendor to start June 19th. It'll take 1 week for the renovations completion.
And we have a new airport manager, if you are not aware, Christian is the new airport manager after Randy. That's correct. We should have made him come and do it. We should have.
Yeah.
Song and dance. We'll get him. on video.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Just put that up.
Charlie's Pasture Shoreline Pier. They're pouring concrete Monday, specifically for where the ADA ramp is. That'll be finished in 2 weeks. We have an 11-week, I want to call waiting period for getting our handrails. Manufacturers are just behind in the fabrication. But we think we'll be able to open that pier without waiting for the handrails. And then do a temporary shutdown in the future for install of those rails when they do. The structural for the pier piling damage, the structure repair is done, but the cosmetic work will be next to occur. That should take place in about 2 weeks. And it's just going to be a grouting over the chips that are visible. Civic Center air conditioning unit is being installed now. Project completion should take another 3 to 4 days. They're waiting on an electrical disconnect. That'll be in about 2 days. And once that's in, they'll wire everything. CBDG hazard mitigation, that was submitted. We did some door-to-door surveys and all kinds of other things. That's just got submitted, so we'll get an update on where we're at on that. But kind of like what Mike was saying, all these other little mod communities should get monies, but they're not going to use up all those monies. So whenever they're done with their take, if you will, a lot of people even pass and don't even do apps. We'll be at the end to see what comes our way. And
Leftovers.
yes. And you know, the people did say that we talked to over the phone that they would honor us attempting to do this. She would put in the good word per se to her boss if we were told, because we knew that the loan mod would be kind of an issue.
E for effort.
For fire EMS, 16-inch water main has been installed. That was put in the alley and along East Avenue C. We have been waiting on delivery of a connection fitting before it can be finalized. That fitting should be in tomorrow, and they're talking about tying it in Monday with an asphalt patch being installed Thursday. So that portion should be done by next week. And it did pass pressure test. Gas distribution utility system, we're in phase 3A. On 11th still, access road 1A all the way to Paradise Point. They're also on Anchor, Oceanside, and going on to Avenue G next, and that's installing new pipe. The harbor boat ramp, bulkhead cap repairs, dock 12 reconstruction, and Peggy Ann dock reconfiguration. All of those items are designed and completed and being advertised for bid currently. Bid award planned for next council session. Harbor Dock 11, that bid was awarded last council session to Bellingham Marine, but repairs and construction have been postponed to start after.
That was the one we didn't want to do in the middle of the summer.
Yeah. Peggy Ann Dock, sorry. Put my line. Harbor Master Building and Pavilion, the latest on that is interior load bearing walls to be completed next week. Steel contractor mobilizing with May 30th. Wood framing is ongoing at the Harbor Master. They're going to start a ledger board soon. Interior plumbing rough-in is complete. Site utilities are ongoing and bulkhead shoring to start next week. And finally, Roberts Point Park bathroom remodel. Being advertised currently, it was in the paper on 11th and 18th. Bids, opening schedule for May 30th at 2 p.m. Bids to be awarded at the next council session.
So this is the interior that Ashley's doing. And then
Emily.
Emily, who did these bathrooms, did a great job. And then Janak's doing the exterior roof stuff.
The statement bidders.
I did, yes, in fact, Workcom stated today that they were planning to submit a bid, so that would be good, because they're already.
Yeah, they did these and did a great job.
Yeah, they're doing the construction now at Harbor Master, so if they're doing the exterior, they're doing the exterior. now.
Yeah, maybe they'll give us a good enough.
On the interior, let's all see. Yep. There are any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Lawrence, we're gonna anticipate to have the bids for the street and drainage concept during summer goals workshop.
No,
Not bid, I'm sorry, estimates for engineers. So we'll have a better idea, engineered estimate, so we can.
For street drainage. for the
Yeah,
bond?
for the bond, I know, but I mean, are they working?
oh, yeah, they are. They're like they're in the
Yeah.
that 4 to 6 month window of
Okay.
design, so.
Just check.
I have on this list currently, it's
They're building,
estimated,
yeah, they're building.
to be bid around December.
Yeah, and it'll be late, it'll be fall,
Oh, the actual
yeah,
overall.
late fall.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rick, can you be faster?
I can be a lot faster. The AV update, after a couple of misfires, people, commit and we talk to them and waste time and then they don't show. I reached out to Telco, a company that actually helped the school district. Talked to Jeff Moss. He said they're great. I'm actually going to have them out next week and they're going to come out and tour. So I know they did a good job at the gym. They did all that work. So they're going to come out and talk about both sound and projection. Short-term rentals 2303 is our current count registered. So like I said, it keeps slowly ramping up. Permits actually down a little bit. So we've got 89 year to date. That compares to the same time last year, 143. So again, don't know if that says anything other than just what it is right now. Let's see. Any questions? Thank you, Darla. And I actually agreed upon a person. It was an internal selection. So came out of my department. But it was.
No, engineers are very happy that you guys are building a STR division
Yeah, but it was the right
for auditing.
person. So
So that means you're now one down and.
I'm down. We've got that posted internally.
Okay.
But we're okay.
Someone else will move.
But we're okay.
Right. Okay, thank you very much. All right, Daniel. Mr. Johnson. You're gonna go.
Of course, this was one of my busier months.
Yeah.
Call volume was up. We had to get mutual aid over here. As you can see on some of the highlights, we just kind of burned through this. We had 12 calls and 28 below. So
Was that the crazy day?
that was
Yeah.
crazy day.
Oh, yesterday.
It was great.
That was
Yeah,
nuts.
it's going good.
That was the day that the guys got hit on the beach, right?
Yeah.
We had the Autoped, 2-ton, we had Corpus over here, we had
Yeah.
County.
Yeah, then we had a girl on the four-wheeler, a guy at La Playa.
Yeah, just man.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, there was a fire.
So it's been pretty chaotic and of course. Oh my God, you're telling me how chaotic it is. Let's see here. We had a lot of events. We had Sandfest, we had an ambulance down there the whole time. We've had the send off for the school for the state tennis, which is awesome. And then we had the welcome back parade because she won state tennis, which is even better. First time in a long time. I think it was 2000 since her last mom. And then her mom
Was the state
89
champ.
was the last female state champ. So it was crazy awesome for them. Been busy for me. I had a ESO conference in Austin, came back at Sandfest, and then I went to Orlando for the new ambulance inspection, and then came back for the hurricane conference, and then we had our conference here. So I've not had a chance to breathe yet. We did send one of our guys over to a civilian response casualty care. That was a training class for Rangers. So they go there now. He can train it and teach the class here locally. We've done some lifeguard training, so that was good. Just a quick update on our conference. We'll go over it next month, but huge conference, great turnout. We couldn't have been more impressed. I know that we did around 100 rooms,
at 4+ nights. Some people said they're here for 10 days. Some people came in on the Monday and left on Saturday. So I mean, it's nuts. I mean, it was really, really good. Only good reviews so far that I've come across. It was over 300 people with their families as well. You know, the ones that actually came in. And then, you know, businesses that were affected, just tons of golf carts. I've gotten calls from all kinds of golf training companies, local businesses, bars, catering places, fishing guides, golf courses. I mean, everybody was really impacted. Yeah, so it's really, really good. We gave CE credit hours, which was good, and we did it at a reasonable price. And one major shout out is to the facilities. Man, they crushed it. They were here at 6 a.m, opening up doors, making coffee and tea. The bathrooms, I mean, everybody, I got so many comments like, "God, it's so clean, it's always nice, everything was great." So Sylvia's crew, if you see them, tap them on the back. That's a huge job that they do. And once again, underappreciated. And
Saw
then
the little video that.
yeah, they just got that made today, so I'll put that out. Other than that. New England. And we brought leftovers to all the departments. So, other than that, the new ambulance, it is low now. It's in Corpus, it's at the other yard. We're waiting on an oxygen tank and a stretcher that we're trying to get, but hopefully we should have that service. I would say within a month. So that's gonna be a huge thing for us.
And Doug is moving forward on the repair.
That's great.
And where are you gonna put that?
We're gonna put Danny. Yeah, right out front because there's a couple empty spots.
Are you, I was gonna say, are you gonna take one out of service or no?
No, it's currently out of
Oh,
service.
it's still,
Yeah, it's gonna be out for a while.
oh, okay.
So white one's gonna stick around for a little bit. And if y'all do the rocks down there, that we're having new sheephead spots, I'm sure we'll fish.
Yeah, bonus.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. LT,
LT.
Our call volume is staying pretty consistent. We're probably gonna be seeing some uptick over the next few months as summer kicks off.
Oh, come on. You think so?
Just a little bit. I think the biggest number that jumps off the page is the 691. If you look at the citations issued for the month of April, of course, this is Sandfest. For beach parking violations was like 366.
woo,
That is, yeah, that is our beach guys, our temporary guys that are now on for the summer schedule. So, yeah.
I got
what is that, a
it.
$75 ticket?
I bet you did.
There were some people that were.
I am
It's the
quite
rules.
sure, I am.
It's the
quite sure
rules.
you are.
Them's the rules.
We get them all the time. Well, I didn't know. There's these giant signs at every entrance of the beach. So,
Which are gonna get smaller soon.
The signs?
Yeah, the
Oh.
giant,
Oh,
the giant buy a permit or else.
Yeah.
They're gonna get.
so I mean, that's the biggest stuff. Obviously, the two accidents that occurred down on the beach were pretty bad. The one with the children that were involved in that one, the most we could do on that was cite them for allowing them to drive, the underage drivers. And the two pedestrians that were hit, we looked into that thoroughly. The gentleman that was driving the truck made us take him in and do a blood specimen as well, because he wanted no question whatsoever as his level of sobriety during the collision, and it turned out that it was just 3 people that were not looking where they needed to be looking.
It was neither party, right?
No, yeah, but the pedestrians were looking down, weren't paying attention, and he was looking off at the water, and
Yeah, and either group was.
yeah, it was just a bad set of circumstances that all kind of kicked off there.
Yeah.
Run.
Ben, would you like to come? You came in, so I figured there's a big report from fire. I got lost. Sure. Give us a-
Not the 20-minute version.
You guys.
Yeah.
Okay, second version, number one. For some reason, in the past 2 months, we've had a lot more people apply to the fire department, a lot of young people.
All right.
I'm going to, so if we could
find time to get these people trained, because training is always the hardest part, because people have jobs. And the new strategy is have more people. We always want more people anyway, but we're gonna try to have more people so that whoever happens to be in town can show up and have a fire. Other than that, we've evaluated 2 sets of electrical tools that are powered by batteries for extraction of people in cars. We found one we liked. Found 2 we liked. We're trying to figure out how to get them by. We have a budget. Thanks for calling me back 30 minutes right after I talked. Other than that, nothing special to report.
Okay, but you got new blood possibly. That's good.
I've seen a couple of them training, running up to the corner in full gear. And back.
There's nothing wrong with putting on the gear and running down the road to try to get in shape. Please stop calling the police on them. They call it, someone called the police on them.
Thought they were stealing.
They didn't know what was going on. They just said it didn't look right.
It didn't look right.
Someone when they see someone
Every day.
walking down the road into the IGA parking lot and back down, he's just working out.
Yeah. Okay. They should come to your 5 a.m. running.
Yeah, he wouldn't make it. Those ladies run me into the carrot.
Thank you.
Would you return my phone call, please?
I did. I called you. You mean you called back? I haven't, that's because I haven't got the answer yet.
All right. So the last item is the city council comments and items for future consideration. Does anyone have anything to add at this time? I just want to say congratulations again to Councilperson Winton, Crawford, and Kruger. I think we're gonna have a great team for the next year. All right, thanks to everybody. 8 o'clock, we're
All right.
done.